The school district is, of course, dedicated to providing the best possible learning environment and outcomes for all of the students. A school budget is essentially a blueprint of the programs and initiatives and operating funds for which we have to work with every year. To create one which retains existing programs and extracurricular activities, adds teachers, and enhances the curriculum while keeping within the 2% budget cap is one of the most difficult tasks that a school district is expected to do. The budget cap, which the Department of Education has mandated, does not keep pace with the rising cost of operating any school district. Nonetheless, we work diligently to come up with a cost-efficient budget that limits spending while keeping educational practices sound. So we have the same and have been maintaining the same three basic goals in the district. There's a growing emphasis placed on educators to analyze data. And while it is not a cure-all for improving learning, if it's utilized properly and in the right proportion, it can be a useful tool. The school information system we implemented last year now provides us with test scores, grade books, lesson plans, report cards, progress reports. There's a discipline module, the lunch program replenishment, and the parent portal, which we will fully have implemented by next year. We've saved a significant amount of money by migrating to one system, something which used to take 3 or 4 different services and licenses and renewals every year. We're doing it all in one package. I will say this about data. The more we make it available to the teachers, the administrators, and the parents, the more it helps the students. The second goal, we did not add any significant technological programs this year. Actually, we eliminated a few, and we're not planning on adding anything significant next year that's going to require a big learning curve. We've added a lot of programs over the years, and the overwhelming majority were necessary. What we focused on this year was using what we had, learning more about them, and going deeper with them. We're going to do the same thing next year. We're still learning the capabilities of a lot of the things we already have. So we're going to improve our working knowledge and get more out of what we've already bought and paid for in these systems. The third goal, we address the needs of all our students and truly embrace the notion of educating the whole child. The atmosphere when you walk into our schools is always positive and inviting. Climate and culture is very important ingredients to effective learning institutions. We want the students to feel safe, nurtured, and most importantly, have fun when they're in school.
For the current year we're in, we received $927,286 in state aid. Now in 2014-15, we're slated to receive an additional $42,740. Half of those additional funds are dedicated to the implementation of the PARCC testing. The additional aid equates to about 1/10% of the total general fund budget. So frankly, the state aid is virtually flat from last year to this year. The process in which we pull a budget together, in essence, there are strategies in that process. Now, the first thing we do in this process is to bear in mind that the Department of Education establishes guidelines and boundaries which we are required to adhere to. The process itself looks for ways to reduce costs and, where feasible, while trying to enhance programs and the overall educational environment. Some of the strategies that we use to accomplish this are prioritizing spending for those items that are critical to health, safety, and classroom instruction, reviewing all the staffing levels for the upcoming year, consolidating where the opportunity exists, and then evaluating, obviously, the necessity of positions as well, such as vacancies are created by retirement, and that's done on a case-by-case basis. A huge portion, obviously, of the budget is relevant to the buildings and the grounds of the district. We certainly will continue to limit the use of the facilities to essential use only. All the schools will continue to remain closed on Sundays to conserve energy and minimize overtime costs in particular. On an ongoing basis, we review maintenance contracts that we have, looking for efficiencies, potential savings. We participate in the state energy audit program, again, as a way to maximize the building's heating, cooling efficiency standards. The district also will continue to implement the Department of Ed efficiency standards to keep costs down for taxpayers. There's a lot of components to that, and the district is certainly utilizing as many as they can, such as shared services, et cetera.
So throughout the whole process, the focus has been to preserve what our students have received at the current levels while trying to enhance and expand where we feel the maximum learning benefits can be achieved. Because the teacher is the most important element in the learning process, that's where the focus of any additional dollars will be for next year. Thus, in the proposed budget before you, we're adding 2 elementary school teachers for next year, a 6th grade teacher at Yuba Street School, a 1st grade teacher at Clarendon School. This was come up with in conferring with the principals, what our enrollment is, and we know that we're going to have a tight squeeze in those 2 areas. So right off the bat, we're going to have 2 elementary teachers added for next year. I've already spoken to the principals. We're going to make the room that we need in the school, so they're going to be in the schools, and we already have a plan in place. The Early Learning Center and Pre-K program and the full-day kindergarten will continue. I don't have to tell you with all the focus on New York and pre-K. The best time to address the students' needs is when they are young. And it's been the best thing that we could do to really help them as they go through the system. We're going to implement a new social studies curriculum, which is aligned, of course, to the Common Core standards. And we have been adding over the past several years iPads into the classrooms for the teachers to enhance instruction. But what we're also starting to do now is get them wireless so that they can walk around the room with them. I do not foresee buying any more PCs for classrooms to be a box that's bolted to the wall. I would like the teachers and eventually the students to have a wireless device where they can walk around the room, because that's really, that's where it's at. I think it's, we're ready to go to the next level with that. So we're going to be adding more again next year. For the middle school, now the middle school, really it's tied to the high school. The biggest change for next year is we're going to revise the schedule. Right now we have a rotate and drop schedule, which means that not every class meets once a week. Sometimes the students won't actually have a class in the course of a week. Particularly with the adolescent-aged kids, it's tough not to have your math class 5 times a week. So what we're doing is, and it's not just for academic reasons, it's also cost savings. In conjunction with the high school, the middle school, we have a revised schedule for next year, which is going to allow classes to meet every day. It's going to create a much easier way to create what's called common planning periods, so that teachers can get together during the same period and meet as a department, or they already do in the elementary schools as a grade, because they can talk to one another and plan out the best strategies, go over test results. It's a very effective way of utilizing our internal expertise, of which we have much in the district. So collectively, this really is a cost savings because we use our in-house knowledge and expertise for professional development, and it's going to help us create more balanced schedules for both the students and the staff. We're going to continue to utilize federal grant money in the form of NCLB and Title I and Title II. And with Title I money, we're going to completely fund the additional language arts and mathematics teachers that we brought on board this year. We're giving in grades 7 through 12, again, it's middle school and high school together, they're getting an additional language arts and math period every day. And this is coming at no additional cost to the general operating budget because it's funded with Title I money. The high school, of course, is on board and working in conjunction with the middle school on this revised master schedule. But in addition, we have something pretty exciting going on. The physics classroom is now a 10-computer workstation classroom, and the curriculum is delivered via the New Jersey Center for Teaching and Learning. And Dr. Ennis has been using this where the entire curriculum is online, and the kids basically do everything that they do online. We added one kit this year. Next year, we're going to get more of these Pasco sensors so they can do all their labs tied into that computer, and everything is going to be basically an online course, but of course it's taught in the classroom. This course is pretty much at the point where it will easily adapt to having each student having a portable wireless device as opposed to a textbook, or taking notes and handing in assignments on paper. This is not anything that's no longer down the road and in the future. This is something that we need to make happen as soon as possible. If you've been reading any of the articles about other school districts in New Jersey, you see things like one-to-one computer initiative, bring your own device. We need to be small, portable, and wireless, because that's where it's at right now. So this course is a great stepping stone right into that. We're going to continue to expand the career exploration and internship program. which is also based pretty much online in terms of where the resources and documentation are for both the students and the employers that we're always very appreciative that employ our kids, give them a job and an opportunity. We're also adding an anthropology and a comparative religions course so we can increase and diversify our course offerings to promote multicultural diversity and provide our students with different learning opportunities. And we're going to update the computers and interactive whiteboard in the room that's off the media center that we use for staff development, again, by using professional development entitlement funding. So that's at no cost or burden to the actual tax levy raised budget. That's going to be funding we get from the government, has to be used for professional development. We're going to make a state-of-the-art room for the teachers, and again, we're going to utilize all of the talent internally to have teachers turnkey and be able to share with their colleagues, and we're going to put that in place for next year. Technology is not unique to just our regular education program. In our special ed and special needs population, we've also been adding iPads, and we also have these FM sound field units that help some of our students that may have a hearing impairment. It's also been used in regular ed classes. It's good, not everyone's voice projects at the same volume level, so we're going to be adding that and other assistive technology for special needs classrooms as needed. We have workshops and training opportunities for staff on inclusion, co-teaching strategies, behavioral management, multisensory reading, which is a very interesting branch of actually using touch in conjunction with traditional reading methods for students. We're going to update some of the equipment and instructional supplies in our preschool disabilities classroom. We will have, as needed, a district-wide behavior services, and we'll have an enhanced curriculum for the middle school program for students with multiple disabilities, which is going to include a life skills component to align to the Common Core. Technology. So we're currently putting the finishing touches on our 3-year technology plan, which will be done this spring, and it basically says where we want to be 3 years down the road. And as I had just said to you before, the budget and subsequent budgets are going to incorporate smaller, portable, wireless devices and get away from bolted-in boxes in the rooms. We're going to utilize the money that Rich mentioned, which was specifically slated for Park, and part of that's going to be to expand our wireless implementation. We have a lot of wireless and almost end-to-end coverage. It has to be more densely populated so more devices can be supported. So we're going to use the monies that we were given for the state for that. And we're going to continue to expand and use to the best of our capacity the existing resources that we have, including our website, a lot of different online resources that we have. We still have a Moodle implementation, and real-time, which is the student information system. In addition to Park, we still do use some other online and technology-based assessments such as Renaissance, which have helped us to identify students' academic needs. But interestingly, in the technology department, we're also downsizing some systems and eliminating those processes that we've deemed to be redundant. And in doing so, we're revamping a lot of things to actually bring down the cost. And a very simple example is we've moved a lot of our services to the cloud, to the web. We actually are starting to use less storage space in the district because more stuff is stored in the cloud. So when we redo our server room working with the IT department, we don't necessarily have to get 10 times the storage, which was the norm 3 years ago. We're going to get less storage and focus more on the cloud. This way kids and teachers and parents can access everything we have 24 hours a day. So we've actually been looking not always to spend more, but also looking where we could spend less and basically get more, more bang for the buck, for lack of a more eloquent term. So again, we're going to continue the emphasis on training and better utilizing all of the technology that we have rather than simply focus on getting more stuff. So district-wide, we're always commended at the shape of the facilities, how good a shape that they're in, how well they're maintained, so we are obviously not going to stop doing that. We've been implementing remote and automated control of the HVAC systems, and that has saved us money. That's allowed us to kick up the heat before there's going to be a process or an event. That allows us to turn down the air conditioning at the end of the day. It's saving us money. It's extending the useful life of our equipment. We're going to continue and complete some of the high school parking lot that hasn't been paved yet. We've upgraded the surveillance system to accommodate additional cameras. Now, this is the one area where you do need more storage. As you record more things on your DVR at home, your DVR starts to fill up, and it starts to tell you, I can't record anymore, you have to start to erase things. We've added so many different cameras and feeds that this is the one area where we are going to upgrade and increase our storage capacity so that we can save things for longer. And the surveillance camera, it's unfortunately a necessary thing. It's not about trying to film everyone and everything. We've saved considerable time and money by being able to very quickly identify things that need to be addressed. We're going to reduce our utility expenses by upgrading exterior and, where applicable, interior lighting to LED technology. We've talked about some lights in the pack, maybe we could go LED. We've talked about lights outside LED. If you've bought them for your home, 20-year lifespan, incredibly efficient, and the cost is coming down. And there's some good subsidies and kickbacks from the utility companies to try to get us to use less electricity. So we're looking into all those things.
As Mr. Pizzuto pointed out, probably the highlight of the budget is the budget we're presenting would fund 2 additional brand new teaching positions, which certainly are needed. Above and beyond that, the budget's going to be able to maintain the existing programs and staff levels, which is obviously important. The budget process, just to illustrate, it's crafted from feedback, obviously, from the schools and the administrators, Finance Committee, needless to say, involved, and as well as, obviously, Central Office Administration to bring together the picture as a whole. As you can see, the state aid, as I referred to earlier, has increased minimally over the 2013-14 school year. And this budget, we are appropriating $234,000 of surpluses to obviously try and minimize any tax increases that we're asking for. So the key concern, I'm sure, for some folks is what's the tax impact? Now, last year, or I should say the year we're presently in, the general fund tax levy was $32,311,941. The budget we're presenting for 2014-15 would call for a general fund tax levy of $32,748,152. As we stated, the increased portion of your tax bill for an average homeowner, which is an average assessed value of $175,000, the impact would be $40 a year. If you want to look at it on a monthly basis, $3.33 a month. That reflects a 1.35% increase over last year. State allowance, even referred to earlier in the presentation, of a 2% cap. So needless to say, we did not go up to the maximum cap and the maximum allowed by law.
And remember to vote, please, on Wednesday, the 23rd. The polls will be open from 1 to 9 p.m. Please support our schools. Thank you very much.